My name is Henry, and I work as an architect in one of the major companies in the country. Since graduating from university, I managed to secure this job because I graduated with honors, which is not very common. Over the course of my 5 years of work, I made some good friends, but the prominent ones are William and Lucas. We used to go to work together and also return together. Even when we had to travel to supervise a project outside the city, we would travel together. One day, the company informed me that I would be traveling to a distant city to supervise a project that would be completed within 12 days. My job, along with my friends, was to ensure that all the architectural plans were executed accurately. As usual, I prepared with William and Lucas to travel to that city and complete the work as quickly as possible so that we could return before the deadline. When we arrived there, we found something unimaginable. Next to the project, there were residential buildings where we were supposed to stay. It wasn't strange that there were workers and engineers occupying all the apartments in all the buildings, except for one building where no one was present. This building was located next to a large cemetery. Although William was opposed to the idea of staying in one of the apartments in that building, we had no other choice. We immediately headed to that building and chose apartment number 5 on the 3rd floor. The apartment seemed normal, with nothing suspicious about it. Each of us chose our room, and we sat down to have dinner before going to sleep. At 4 in the morning, something strange happened to William. Suddenly, without any warning, he started screaming loudly. We rushed to him and I asked William, "What's wrong? What happened?" William said, "I saw a very terrifying creature in my dream. It was staring at me from a distance and threatening to cut my neck." I told William, "Don't be afraid, it's just a nightmare. Let's pray, and these nightmares will go away." Then we went back to sleep. As for Lucas, he didn't say a word and appeared shocked with his pale face. In the morning, we went to work, and it was indeed a very exhausting day. We returned to the apartment, had lunch, and then each of us went to their bed to get some rest. The same thing that happened to William happened to Lucas. He woke me up in a state of panic and said, "There's something wrong in this apartment. I saw a creature staring at me from a distance, threatening to kill me, and then it disappeared." I asked Lucas to describe this creature, and he said its face was black with blood-red eyes and 2 horns. It had large claws and held an axe dripping with blood. Its appearance was extremely terrifying. I went with Lucas to check on William, but he didn't respond. The door to his room was tightly closed. We thought he was deeply asleep. An entire hour passed, and William didn't wake up. We felt that something was seriously wrong. We started calling for him and knocking on the door with all our strength, but to no avail. We got extremely worried about our friend, so we decided to break down the door. When we entered the room, it was a shocking sight. William wasn't inside his room. How could this happen when we saw him enter the room with our own eyes and close the door? From here, the search for our friend William began. We searched every corner of the apartment, but we couldn't find him. We left the apartment and started searching throughout the building. We went up to the rooftop, and there we saw something that chilled our blood. There was a trail of blood, as if a body soaked in blood had been dragged on the ground. We followed the blood, and the biggest shock awaited us. Our friend William's headless body was in front of us. We went insane when we saw this scene. That's when we learned that this apartment was haunted. We didn't know what to do. The only options we had were to inform the police and our company. Within a few minutes, the place was filled with police officers, and some residents of the area were present. It seemed as if what happened to William was ordinary to them. We asked one of the residents, and his answer was shocking to us. He told us that the apartment we chose was inhabited by a sorcerer. This sorcerer used to summon jinn to perform his magic, but then he repented to God, so the jinn cut off his head. Then Lucas and I decided to return home and never travel again, no matter what happens.